Welcome back to The Line. This week, a proposed class action lawsuit was filed against the Children, Youth, and Families Department and the Human Services Department, calling the state's foster care system, quote, broken. Among other things, the suit claims that there aren't enough foster parents, there's not enough training or resources for those foster parents, and that children in the system are being re-traumatized and denied medical care. Officials point to many improvements in the last several years, but the plaintiffs in the case, which also includes two nonprofits, say it's nowhere near enough. And Sophie, a technical issue I want to get through first. The idea that this is a proposed class action suit as opposed to
11 individual suits.
Exactly right.
Yes.
And the fact that they're not looking for money either, but just a recorrection here. How does that, what's the distinction there? Why?
So, the request for class action essentially is a request for efficiency.
Okay.
Rather than having to battle this issue out amongst individuals, that allows the plaintiffs and the court to look at it from a big picture perspective, looking at the varying experiences of the different plaintiffs. And so that's not something you just get to do. You have to ask for it, and you have to make the case that this is a class that makes sense together and that should come together. Now, I think as important, certainly to the plaintiffs, the idea of the class action is very important. As important to us all, though, is the idea that they're not seeking financial reward. They're not seeking to take money out of the CYFD and state government. They're instead looking for corrections. And that is similar in many ways to other cases that we've seen here in the state. I'm thinking of the one that Judge Singleton recently decided, and I have to admit, I can't 100% remember whether there was a monetary damage attached to that, but the main purpose was, we got to fix this, and if we have to go to the courts to force you to do your jobs, we will do that. And so that's the idea behind those two elements.
I see. Starting to see a bit of a trend here, aren't we, in how these things are?
I think so. I think that we've seen as a state, certainly in Albuquerque, many people don't love it that the DOJ has stepped in with the Albuquerque Police Department, but it's hard to argue there hasn't been movement there under that consent decree. We see it happening with the case involving our state education system. This is the latest. I expect we will see more of that sort of thing. And in my mind, a case well brought in that environment is extremely important to the health of our community.
There you go. Adrienne, interestingly, when you look at this, some of the stuff are so horrific to read about. These kids are literally on their own when they're out there with these foster families. But let me kind of cut at this. The one idea that they're not getting the training they need, the parents, to take in an already traumatized kid and just leaving it up to the parents to kind of deal with this just seems like it's just not going to work by any stretch here. Are these plaintiffs right in to bring this suit and just air all this stuff out?
I think this lawsuit is a reflection of the pain that we all feel when we wake up and watch the news every day. It's a reflection of the pain that our communities experience every day in New Mexico. I think we need to use all of the tools in our toolbox in order to correct these systems, and if that means using a lawsuit because of incompetent or unable people in leadership at the top, then we have to do that. I think this lawsuit reminds me a lot of what has taken 30 years to get a settlement, the HSD suits, where the HSD was denying provision of nutrition assistance benefits to people using obscure bureaucratic rules just because, and this is an issue that comes from the leadership, because it's a lame duck administration. That's likely why we don't see more uproar and calls for Secretary Jacobson to step down. And when you put a tourism professional in charge of a department that should be headed by a trained and educated professional in that area, I think our communities see the results of that, and it's it's tragic.
Tom, we could have our arguments with who's at the top of the food chain there, but it is about money as well, isn't it? And about resources. If CYFD is saying, look, we've recruited more than 150 more foster parents in the last several years. There's increases for this, and increases for that, but clearly they're playing catch-up ball. And you need to have some more resources to do this. Is this legislature with a little more money in the bank able to hear this? coming up, do you think? Or
Yeah, I think whenever we talk about the legislature and looking at future funding for CYFD, we have to look at the bigger picture that there's an opportunity for future conversation.
Right.
I have a different perspective than Adrian with respect to Secretary Jacobson for another conversation, but there is going to be an administration change.
Sure.
And with that, I think provides opportunity that a class action lawsuit brings to the table. The Albuquerque Journal this week had a very insightful editorial on the topic where they say perhaps this is an opportunity for conversation because
right.
oftentimes whenever you have a lawsuit, it's a sign that conversation has stopped.
That's right.
And it's an effort to get a conversation moving.
Yes.
So with the new administration, whether it is Lujan Grisham or Pierce, you're going to have that opportunity. And so, I think, let's use it as an opportunity. And with that, talk about what is the funding that's needed. CYFD is not a cherry assignment for anyone, for any state agency, for any leader. Heather Wilson was secretary of CYFD and had her own issues. So, with very few exceptions, people don't go to CYFD to make their career.
Right.
I mean, they go in because it's a very difficult, they have to be very passionate about it. And sometimes they have to have the right qualifications as far as the background. But I think it really takes a good manager. And what we're seeing here at the end of the administration with a number of different lawsuits that are being filed is just a frustration by families who just need to have answers. And so hopefully we'll get that with the change of the new administration.
Good point there, Senator. The Human Services Department I mentioned is also part of this class action suit because there's a lot of indications there that a lot of these kids had to wait extraordinarily long periods of time for basic medical service. Touch on that if you would. Something seems a little bit broken in that part of the system as opposed to even the visits and the training and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, the team of professionals around the child, the child psychiatrists, the social workers, the CASA workers, the ad litem, some of the most underpaid people within the system.
I agree.
I think we need to address that. And so that's a part of the problem. A bigger part of the problem is we just don't have enough families. So we have 2,600 kids in the system, 900 are treatment foster children, they're higher risk, and we have about 1,300 families. And I know I have 4 children in their 20s, and one of the trends I'm seeing among my children's peers is they're wanting to be foster children. And I don't know if this tiny sample is a microcosm of what's happening in society, but they're finding it's really, really difficult. So the turnover rate is huge, 25%, right?
Right.
On the other hand, my office manager, Wendy, adopted some treatment foster kids. And shout out to Wendy. We need more people like Wendy who understand the challenges and the difficulties, and I think they need to mentor some of these prospective foster families because that whole situation is not easy. So, I mean, a part of the problem is we need to recruit families, and these aren't just families that are going to take care of a child. These are children that have very, very serious issues.
That's right.
And I'm glad we have a laser focus. The reality is if we, talk about homelessness, this population likely, percentage will be homeless. Percentage will drop out of high school.
That's right.
Percentage will
That's right.
wind up in the criminal justice system. So the laser focus this lawsuit's bringing to this issue is very important.
Appreciate you saying that. And the other end of it we didn't have time to talk about is the placement of Native American kids and the drive to place them with Native American families, but you don't have enough in the system, and it's
more than
difficult.
a drive. I mean, it's a statute. There's a
Thank you.
requirement that happen. And I think just to build on what Mark has said.
You're doing about 20 seconds.
All right. It's not just that it needs to be easier to become a foster parent.
Right.
We have to have better assurances that the people who become foster parents are not just qualified but safe for these children.
That's right. Good point there. For more on this lawsuit, be sure to head to our website, NewMexicoInFocus.org. It's been a lot of good reporting on the issue this week, and that's all the time we have, so thank you for watching.